I brought my planeswalker, she said with a sly smile. Now on the same level, the rotting stench of tonsil stones assaulted my senses. Ugh! Ugh!
Her breath smelled like straight up
Hello friends, trace amounts of science. Today we are getting back into an r/legbeard story. The daycare thing's not quite wrapped up. The fatty club, I'll get back to that shortly. But I wanted to have a look at Bogica, a tale most foul, written by user Stinkgoober, which a good username really does go a mile with me, you know? And in my opinion, that is a good username. If you mention ReddX Industries right at the start, then we're contractually obligated to do it. So, let's get into it. I hope you guys will enjoy it. Lots of good stuff coming down the pipe. Thanks for being here today. Bogica, a tale most foul. Hello, ReddX Industries employees, and ReddX, if this story is good enough for AdSense, we'll take it a little easy, you know? I had to go real light on the trigger since the Tendy posting green text video got a slap on the wrist. That's up on Patreon, though, publicly, if you'd like to go watch it. Maybe sign up as a patron while you're there, who knows? Then we don't have to worry about AdSense. Anyway, I've been wanting to share this arc from a few years back for some time. With some hard recollection and a copious amount of snooping on social media, I believe I've pieced together a readable story for your enjoyment. This is the part where I'm supposed to say, oh, you shouldn't snoop on social media. Everybody does it. Everybody snoops on social media. It's the whole reason social media exists. If you have a public profile, expect that it will be snooped upon. And that's the reason we get this rich tapestry of humanity that we get to survey every day. Cringe for the cringe god ReddX and all that, says OP. I don't want to be the cringe god. I'll be Brad Damon, the Eldritch Overlord. Harvesting cringe to power my psychic horrors. I apologize. English is my first language, and I can barely speak it. Yeah, the same. The story's very gross. It churned my stomach to write and remember the horrors that I observed during this time, and I would not recommend eating while reading or listening to this tale. Take a Tums, drink some Pepto-Bismol if you start feeling queasy. I will do both of those things, yes. It is like the little disclaimer warning, but inevitably I'll still get comments. They're like, oh my god, it's so gross, ReddX. Yeah, I know. We all were supposed to know going in. Here's the cast list. Bogica, 5'0", curvy girl who had dreams of being queen of the nest. By far the most disgusting person I have ever encountered. Brick, my boyfriend at the time of this story, shorter than me by a few inches, but built like a brick house. Lift heavy things and make depression go bye-bye. Yeah, for a little while at least. A kind soul, nerdy with a penchant for getting sad drunk every day. That's not good. Worked at a panini restaurant during the duration of this story. A restaurant that only serves paninis? What will they think of next? There's Weevil, childhood friend of Brick. Nice enough, hard-working redneck nerd hybrid. Nerdina is Methin's lady love of about 4 years. She loved to laugh. Methin is a former crystal addict, working his way up the McDonald's ladder. Well, hell yeah, man, we gotta start from where we start from. Boots is Bogica's boyfriend at the start of this story, named Boots because he needed to be given the boots. Extreme style. If he doesn't seem so bad in this story, he really wasn't, until I found out what he was doing years later, as explained in the Where Are They Now segment of this story. Okay, good. So, hate on him even if he seems okay. Got it. There's also OP/Goob, cripplingly insecure at this time, with a notable lack of a backbone. Many of our OPs have this in common. It's fine. It's a common affliction these days. I'd rather be a boneless pizza than an I'm the main character type of person, if I have to pick. The word no lived in the farthest reaches of my vernacular, now covered in cobwebs and emaciated from neglect. That's all right, OP. We'll get you fed today. Nice and big and strong with healthy bones. Don't worry. Others are not an integral part of this story, but they make appearances, so yeah, no further description for them. The story takes place when I was about 18 to 19, and like many in that age range, found new independence. And yeah, I was a total dipshit. I mean, that is the time to be that, you know? We go out, we do all sorts of wild stuff, and we're like, well, maybe I won't do that again, you know? How else are you gonna learn? Watching somebody else, that's not as fun. Fall down, scrape your knee. It's good stuff. Anyway, at this time, I had just gotten out of a maltreatment relationship and immediately rebounded, as codependent types are wont to do. Oh my god, preach. It was with a friend and sometimes fling from high school, and that was Brick. Instead of dealing with my most recent trauma, I coped with an alcohol dependency which bordered on addiction. See, in the Navy, I said I only drink 2 days a week. It's not a problem. And they're like, yeah, but it's binge drinking, you see? Oh, good. We've made up a new term for it. Now it's codified. I can't just want to pickle my brain every weekend. It has to be because I have deeper problems. Apparently, yes. And also, I've kicked the booze completely since. Last time I drank was when I was live streaming on Twitch last year. I should do that again. That'll get me drinking again.
I take a whiskey drink. I take a chocolate drink. And when I have to pee, I use the kitchen sink.
I became an observer to my life instead of an active participant. Addiction. I'll just stuff it all down and one day I'll just die, was my motto for this time. It took me longer than I'd admit to realize that I, and I alone, had the power to take control of my life. Preach. No one's gonna live it for me. I include this peek into my sordid past to answer the question of, why? I'm also a glutton for free entertainment, but you didn't come here to hear about little old me, so let's dive on into the Legbeard nest. Look at that, self-aware OP writing beautifully. I love this. Can we get more of this? This is the La Ogre Saga, the bad ending, or good ending, I guess, depending how you look at it. The day started like any other. The sun was shining, the birds were chirping. I was getting ready to meet Brick's friends for a night of drinking and MTG. I was excited to meet everyone. Having no friends of my own, I craved some good old-fashioned human interaction. Yeah, around Magic the Gathering, I guess I could get into that, as long as there's no stinky boys. Once he had arrived home from work and changed out of his panini-smelling uniform, we soon boot-scooted and boogied our way out the door and into his 2000 Subaru Outback. Boot-scoot and boogie? Man, you gonna make me do the watermelon crawl. Don't do this. I'm gonna put on some Brooks and Dunn after this story's over. And
Struck out in the woods to do the boot-scoot boogie.
You don't have to be nervous, Brick assured me as we pulled out of my trailer park. They're all nice people. You'll like them. I just hope they like me, I responded, as I fiddled with my small Bluetooth speaker sitting on the dash. Soon enough, the depressing reality that Andrew Jackson Jihad brings began playing out of it. Yes, indeed, rejoice. Rejoice, God's ears are stitches. But you know, at least his arms are burning witches. No, really, Andrew Jackson Jihad is so good. So good. First album specifically, but all their stuff is pretty good. I'm less into like the noisy grindcore stuff, but the vocals and everything about it is just so unique. It's hard not to like them. Sorry, what were you talking about? They will. Don't you worry about that, he affirmed. Once everyone has some drinks in them, well, it'll get easier to talk. As it does. Truer words never spoken. Alcohol is the best social lubricant. Well, I don't know about that, OP. Coke might give it a run for its money. But also it's illegal. We drove through the narrow, pothole-ridden roads of downtown Collegeville, windows down to help mitigate the lack of air conditioning. Passing an equal amount of tweakers huddled under the doorsteps of businesses and overdressed gaggles of girls waiting in line to enter filthy clubs. I stared out absently at the vagrancy. This is beautifully written, you know that. Crossing over a bridge, we soon pulled onto a quiet side street. Brick eased the car to a stop next to the curb, the brakes squealing with indignation. Yeah, you might want to change those brake pads out, just so we can find the time. We're here, he said as he cut the engine. I could almost hear the sigh of relief emanating from under the hood. Can you grab my cards from the bag in the trunk and I'll bring the beer in? Oh, that's why they couldn't afford the brake pads. MTG, alcohol, it's a lot of addictions to keep up with here. And that's okay, I understand, but not at 18 or 19, certainly not. The keys of the Broke-mobile were tossed into my lap as he hopped out, stretching his shoulders and back from a long day of making Sammies. Yeah, and then you gotta put him in the panini press. That's crazy. Unlocking the trunk, I fished around past empty fast food bags and crumpled monster cans to find the black backpack containing the cardboard crack. Oh yeah, bring me my holographic first edition Charizard. I know what I'm talking about. Brick then hoisted up a 30 rack from the back seat, thirsty boy, and I handed the keys back to him to lock it up. I built you a deck. Once we settle down, I could teach you the basics, he said as we started walking down the sidewalk. It's just up here, the yellow one. There's no yellow deck. You mean the house? Okay, I'm tracking. I started to take in my surroundings as we approached our destination. A 3-story pale yellow house loomed behind a group of pine trees. As we drew closer to the moss and mold accented home, I could see how close to the edge of a sharp drop the house was. One bad year of erosion would cast it tumbling down to join the piles of used needles and trash littering the river below. If only we were all so lucky. Yeah, I've had a few bad years of erosion. It's fine. I mean, until it's not anymore, but that's a problem for future me. It was a beautiful afternoon, around 65 degrees, with a warm breeze that managed to wash away the stink of the city, but there was something sinister on the wind as we approached the door. Stale cigarettes, B.O. Is that a hint of unwashed ass that I detect?
Oh my god, it smells like ass out now.
Yes, absolutely. More than just a hint if you deign to open the door. Don't let it out, OP. Don't do it. But Brick swung the wooden door wide open. A few flies, fleeing to a better life, flew past us. We got 30 days? I can spend it in here. I stepped into the light of a kitchen. The smell hit me before my eyes had a chance to take in my surroundings. Cigarettes, stale and freshly lit, acted as a mask for the more grotesque smells of cat urine, mold, and the sickly sweet scent of garbage that should have been brought out to the curb about a month ago. Well, at least the flies are having a good time. This is like the Funky Pea Saga if the house was never cleaned in between games. My eyes broke out of the 1,000-yard stare that such a strong stench elicited, and I took a scan of the kitchen. A mountain of dishes sat in and around what I assumed to be a sink, fully obscuring whatever it actually might be. Counters cluttered with more crusty dishes, liquor bottles, new and empty, but mostly empty, takeout bags, ashtrays, and of course, unopened utility bills. Brick made some room on the counter for the beer by pushing the empty liquor bottles out of the way, seemingly unfazed by this abject destitution. I really don't get it. I've had my fucking times letting things fall apart, but you never completely give up, or else this is what you get. Ugh, that's not what I want. Several of the liquor bottles were also welded to the counter by an unknown sticky substance that required some elbow grease for removal. Surprised they didn't just shatter the bottle. That's what that's for. I superglued those bottles to the counter so they can be broken at a moment's notice. If an intruder comes in, we'll be ready. Wait, they were alcoholics, not crankheads. Oh, actually, one of them is. Maybe it's exactly what it's for. Anyway, whatever. My gaze moved to the floor, or the little bit that I could see of it. Huge black trash bags overflowing with cans, 2 liters, and takeout boxes were leaning against the walls and cabinets. Is anybody gonna take those down at some point? A tower of pizza boxes standing sentry to the left of the door. The laminate floor held the remnants of that food, as well as cat litter and hair. Yeah, and just like human skin cells, the dust that's... Oh, God. How is everybody just okay with this?
What is wrong with you people?
My mind was somewhere far away when I was broken out of my trance by Brick saying, "Shut the door. I don't want the cats getting out." Yeah, don't want to let any fresh air in, do you? I quickly swung the door shut and stepped off the welcome mat, noticing a spiraling wooden staircase partially obscured by a hanging tapestry to my right. Ooh, chic. If you want to feel like a fucking lighthouse keeper. And taking a few steps closer to Brick, my boots slightly stuck to the floor with each movement. "Hey guys, we're here!" Brick projected into the adjacent living room. He strode in to join the group, sitting around on several desiccated couches. A chorus of "Hey dude" and other greetings accented the slapping of hands in the process of dapping each other up. I paused at the entrance to the room, not able to take in any more visual information now that I was in the presence of strangers that I was supposed to talk to all night. Yes, and in a trash pile, no less. At least there's plenty of things to talk about. You dig through somebody's trash, you're like, huh, you like Chinese food a lot, huh?
Hello? You order Chinese food? Oh, you fat fuck.
Brick plopped onto one of the couches, picking up a grinder to prepare some devil's lettuce for consumption. Oh yes, please, consume. Surely it will take your mind off the horrors that surround you at every moment. I stepped closer to the collective and gave a smile to the faces looking up at me. "Guys, this is my girlfriend, Goob," Brick introduced. "Goob, this is Methan, Methan's girlfriend, Nardina, Weevil Boots, Man Bun, and Little Fella." He gestured to each of them in turn. Once the introductions were complete, I gave another smile with a, "Hey, nice to meet you guys. And also, probably I'm not going to remember any of your names." Forgive me in advance for that. "Can you put my cards on that table?" Brick motioned to a fold-out table sitting in the back of the living room, where others had placed their own cases of expensive picture rectangles. But they're really nice picture You have to admit that, don't you? Top-tier picture rectangles. And I strode over to the table, the sticky spots on my boots now coated with dirt and detritus, becoming effectively immune to sticking to the scraped wood floor. Oh, that's how they survive. It's like a spider that can go on its own web. Setting the card case on the table next to the others, I cautiously wiped my clammy hands on my pants. I returned to the group where Brick patted the empty couch cushion next to him, a plume of dead skin cells and hair escaping into the air with force. Why'd you have to do that? Now I have to sit in the skin cell cloud. I hate that a lot. Despite my wanting to avoid contracting diseases unknown to man, I acquiesced and sat daintily on the edge. Yes, the skin will only get on my back then. "Goob, you remember Weevil, right?" Brick gestured to a skinny, tall guy sitting on the couch across from us. "We were on the wrestling team together in high school." "Oh, yeah. Hey man, how you been?" I asked Weevil. He had dark brown hair, a beaked nose, and sad-looking, slightly sunken-in eyes, accented by an old scar lining his cheek. "I've been okay, just working at coal mining company, mostly," he responded in a quiet, slightly shaky tone. He rested his well-broken-in shit kickers on a stained ottoman as Brick passed him the bowl. The two started talking amongst themselves, and I took the opportunity to take in my surroundings, observing the people around me. Oh yeah, people watching is the best pastime, I tell you that. Man Bun was a well-built guy with light brown hair pulled back into, well, a man bun, and he was sunk into one of the couches. His eyes looked perpetually squinted while he was baked. Come to think of it, he must have just been perpetually baked. He was playing Red Dead Redemption 2 on one of the many TVs in the living room. He was chatting with Little Fella, a short and chubby man with long, partially dyed curly hair sitting next to him. In front of the pair sat a Pickle Rick bong that looked like it hadn't been cleaned out since the infamous episode aired a year and some change prior. Oh, you gotta clean it? What does that make it taste better or something? And then you clean it and you're like, oh yeah, that's how it's supposed to taste.
This is good shit.
In the corner sat a rather rotund man with greasy blonde hair that was hunched in front of a monitor playing Monster Hunter. Boots had his back to the group, seemingly enthralled by whatever creature he was slaying. Hey, what's your guys' favorite Monster Hunter weapon? I'm like a big hammer guy, you know? If you say gun lance, I'm gonna bang you from the comment section. I'm serious. Methin and Nerdina were huddled together watching a YouTube video on a laptop, giggling at the screen. Nerdina was cute with a melodious laugh, maybe a little chubby, but she had them big old mommy honka-donkas.
Humongous hungalonga no no logongas.
Oh, good for her. You kill me with that. Like, if a male OP said it, I'd be like, bro, what the fuck? Okay, I'm fine. Just scent me a little bit. As I looked toward Methin at her side, I wondered then what she saw in him. He was skinny as a twig, a bony face with beady eyes framed by a mop of greasy hair. It looked like it had once been dyed green, but was now taking on the color of moldy bread. As he laughed at the video, I caught a glimpse of his teeth. Several were missing or rotted away into stumps, reminiscent of Gollum's teeth, but in varying stages of decay. I don't know if that's from the crystal or just not brushing, but yeah, confirmed yuck mouth. Probably both. My own teeth clenched in fear that the spreading black and green sludge that lived in his fetid maw would infect my own mouth just from the sight.
The British team!
Oh!
And now all of a sudden my teeth are really itchy. It's always the tooth stuff that skeeves me out the most in these stories. You probably know that, but dude, just hate it. Feeling awkward and needing some reprieve from the biohazard couch, I asked Brick, I'm gonna grab a beer. You want anything? And he said, yeah, could you make me a Jack and Coke? He responded between coughs. The Jack's on the counter, Coke's in the fridge, and there should be a glass in the cupboards. Sure thing, babe, I said as I stood, worrying that my black jeans had taken up the couch's mantle of containing the essence of many asses. I mean, if you're talking about the skin cells, then yes. Probably a little fecal matter too, you know? Well, probably more than just a little. Whatever, don't think about it. Dusting myself off, I returned to the kitchen. I cracked open and quickly downed my first beer of the night, pulling out a second and setting it on the counter for moral support. Thanks, beer. You've always got my back.
To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
I commenced the hunt for the ingredients for Brick's drink. I quickly located the bottle of Jack Daniels and set it next to my beer. Swinging the fridge open, I saw a 2-liter of Coke amongst a litany of old food in Tupperware containers. As I picked it up, I paused. Behind where the Coke had sat, there was a vacuum-sealed package. The sticker on the package described what cut of steak was within, and a Best Buy date of, 5 months ago. I then noticed the bubbles. Amidst the brown liquid that was once a pretty nice cut, bubbles had slowly formed, and rose, and dissipated. Whatever bacteria infested the ancient steak was producing a gas byproduct, I assumed. I have never before, nor since, seen a carbonated steak. Maybe he's just marinating it in, like, Coke or something, right? Humans do that. They seem like, put together people that would do that. Prepare for the dinner hours in advance? No. They microwave something for 5 minutes. Carbonated steak is wild. Whatever you do, do not open that package. Shutting the fridge door in horror, I steeled myself and focused on the remaining task of finding a clean glass. Opening one cabinet after another, my search yielded no fruit. Not a single glass or even a coffee mug to be found. A few shot glasses showed themselves, but no, that would not do. My man wanted a Jack and Coke, and by God, I'd make him a Jack and Coke. Damn, OP's pretty ride or die, Like, it seems like some little petty shit right now, but that's how you know she'll be ready to go to war later on down the road. My eyes slowly looked to the sink and the mountain of dishes and cutlery. I could see several glasses and mugs under encrusted plates. Oh no, don't go in there. Peering into the abyss, something was wriggling near the bottom. Oh no, what's that, man? Swimming in the dark brown goop, white maggots munched away happily on their nutrient paste. Then an unfamiliar word escaped my lips. No, I squeaked aloud to myself, my voice breaking like a young lad whose jewels had just dropped. No! As I was preparing to return, defeated with a shot glass, I heard the groaning of the wooden staircase behind me. Someone, or something, had descended the spiral. I turned to look at the specter behind me, and I almost jumped out of my skin in surprise. Peeking out at me from behind the tapestry obscuring the stairs stood a short girl. Standing sideways on the steps with her back to the wall, she had one hammy fist clenching the fabric aside enough to peer out into the kitchen. I wouldn't have noticed her if it wasn't for her bulbous belly betraying her by poking out past the tapestry. Why was she trying to hide from me? I thought in bewilderment. Hi, I'm OP. Brick's girlfriend, I stammered. She stepped out from behind the tapestry slowly and responded quietly, Bogica. Now that she had stepped into the light of the kitchen, I could get a better look at her. She had long, stringy, box-dyed black hair with bangs, and a large pair of square glasses obscured her small eyes. Pouting, thin lips frowned down at her protruding gut. She was shaped like an apple that someone stuck 4 toothpicks into, which served as the arms and legs. I believe this is what's called a pre-diabetic body shape by the scholars among us. Or alternatively, the peak of human performance if you're Movie Bob. Should talk about Movie Bob on the channel. Okay, sorry. All of her blubber was collected in her gut area, being contained by an oversized My Little Pony shirt, leaving a flat chest and an even flatter ass. Damn, that's sad. Look at that. That's so sad. It was analogous to Hank Hill if he gained 40 pounds in just his belly. God, it's terrible. She was looking down, shoulders slumped, like a little kid who had just gotten scolded. Hey, could you help me find a clean glass? I couldn't find any in the cupboards, I asked, trying to shake off the disgust and surprise in tandem. There's plenty in the sink. You could just rinse one out, she said, as if it was the most obvious solution in the world. Oh yeah, scoop out the maggot goop and rinse it off. Do you have any dish soap? No, of course you don't. This is like the best reason ever to only drink from beer cans forever. OP says, I mean, yeah, but I think those cups are too dirty. I said in desperation, and Bogica sighed. Apparently being asked to perform a task had broken her out of whatever this display was. Was she like a little gremlin genie or something like that? Is that how this story's gonna go? Wouldn't that be wild? We just all got rused after 10 parts. Fuck! Waddling over to one of the overfull trash bags, she kicked it out of the way, scattering all manage of garbage across the floor. She's like Hoggle from the Labyrinth. Just a little trash troll wandering around washing dishes. At least something. Only when you ask. Behind, where the trash bag had slumped, she opened a cabinet and reached far back inside, producing a stack of red Solo cups. Why wouldn't you suggest that? What a bitch. That's perfect. Thank you so much. I was so relieved that I would not be peer pressured into touching anything near the primordial goo living in that sink that I did almost cry at the sight of those plastic cups. Yeah, and there's a real shitty country song about it too. We had Brooks and Dunn at the start of the episode, good country. Now we got whoever the hell sings that song, bad country.
Red Solo cup, I fill you up.
She held out the cups with 2 hands, like a child giving up her favorite toy. Aww, maybe she does have a heart in there somewhere. Here, she said quietly, like she was trying to force a speech impediment to sound childish. Yeah, that's really weird, but we don't have time to get into it right now. I got a Jack and Coke to make. Thank you, I really appreciate it. Taking them from her grasp, I noticed her nails. 1 inch long, but painted an ugly color. I was almost envious for a second. Due to vitamin deficiency, my own nails are short and brittle. That envy quickly faded when I realized that she wasn't wearing nail polish. A sickly yellow, almost orange stain coated her claws. A cacophony of black, brown, and green caked under her nails. Oh my god. Yeah, well, okay. Looking up in horror, she'd already turned on her besmeared bare feet and was stomping away towards the living room. She got like hobbit feet, they don't feel anything on the bottom. It's sticky as shit in here. Your nicotine fingers and your nasty, nasty fingernails, ugh. Ugh! But I guess I owe her one for the solo cup, don't I? Anyway, the men folk now surrounding the fold-out table with their decks prepared for a game of addition and subtraction. Yeah, you really only gotta count up to like 20 or so, right? 30? Whatever. Taking off the bottom cup, where her grubby paw prints remained, I opted for the next cup up in the stack. Probably a wise choice. Just throw that bottom cup away. It ain't no good to nobody. Pouring a heavy shot into the bottom, I downed it with a shudder. Finally, I made the requested drink of the man who had knowingly brought me into this accursed place. Yeah, and expected you to go wash a fucking glass for him. Like, pouring the drink, okay, I got it. But digging through maggot sludge, I don't know, baby. We gotta be a few years in before all that. Grabbing my beer, I brought both back into the living room and joined the babbling at the table.
Hey, there you are! What took you so long?
Brick asked with a smile, eyes slightly squinted with blood vessels quickly becoming more visible. I couldn't find any clean glasses. Hey, can I talk to you for a second? I said quietly.
Oh, you're in trouble,
came from Man Bun, who was laughing. I motioned with my eyes to a corner a few feet away, and Brick followed.
What's up, babe?
He asked when we were out of earshot.
I think they have a fly problem.
I managed to get out. It's the understatement of the century. Okay, what's the root cause of the flies? Oh, it's all this garbage. I think they have a hoarding I think they have a very severe mental illness. But I guess we're not there yet. We'll start with the fly problem.
Yeah, they're pretty bad in here. Just ignore them,
Brick responded. Have you looked in the sink? I asked in desperation.
No, I know better than to go near there,
he responded with a chuckle.
They're just bad at doing dishes. Just ignore them if you can. Now come on, Man Bun and Weevil are gonna play, and after, I'll teach you once we watch them.
Okay. I'll try, I said, not wanting to rock the boat. It hurts, man. Like, any person with some sort of empathy would see that was literally a cry for help, and maybe we should get out of here. But he's so stuck in his, like, addiction stupor that he really doesn't care. I'm just gonna stay in the place that's filled with trash so I can drink and play game and smoke thing around people that I supposedly like. It's rough, but yeah, OP decided they want to weather it. Okay. Okay, I guess. You'll find out. Oh, and one more thing. What's with that girl? I gestured to Bogica, who was holding out a palm in expectation to Boots, who was still consumed by Monster Hunter. He reached into his pocket with a grunt, produced a pack of smokes, placed them into Bogica's waiting hand. Oh, don't let her... You pick one for her. You don't let her touch the filters. That's nasty. She was trying to sneak up on me, I think. When I introduced myself, she acted like I had caught her stealing something. Does she, like, have something mentally?
Oh, Boots' girlfriend? Nah, I don't think so. I think she's just shy about meeting new people. She's nice when you get to know her. Just give her some time.
Well, fellow introvert, I guess we can accept each other, you know? She gave you some red Solo cups. What better gesture of goodwill is there than that? I mean, usually they're filled with booze, but we take what we can get. Anyway, with that lackluster attempt at reassurance, Brick returned to his compatriots who had begun shuffling. I followed and stood by his side, my rapidly disappearing beer clutched close to my chest. As the match began, I was told the basics of what each card did. An info dump of a monstrous proportion came with each land, creature, and spell that was slapped on the table. Trying to get a grasp of how the game worked, I didn't notice that Bogica had filled the empty space next to me at the table. Well, see, she wants to be friends. And yeah, you probably don't need to listen to the deep lore card info dump. Just read the fucking card. You figure out what it does. First strike, lethal, flying, trample. Maybe those are explained a little bit, but it's not the most complicated game in existence, if you can read. Anyway, Bogica says, "You're really tall," she mused, still in that faux baby voice that made my skin crawl. Caught off guard, I looked down to see her cowering up at me, bulging eyes widened as far as they could, with a lit cigarette in hand. Yeah, I'm 5'9", my boots are just kinda big," I responded hesitantly. 5'9" is above average for the female species, I do suppose, and I have a love of some big ol' stompers, so I probably look like I was almost 6 feet tall. I like big shoes too, but I like them big the other way, and then I just put a big lead pipe in the end. Steel toe work boots.
Yeah! Killer boots, man!
Anyway,
Hey, why are you talking like that, Bogica? It's creepy.
Man Bun queried as he placed the card.
I have a speech impediment.
She shot back angrily, noticeably without replacing any vowels with W. I mean, there was no R sound in there. Never mind, it's fine.
That's about the most selective speech impediment I've ever heard, Man Bun retorted, chuckling. Don't distract OP, because she's trying to learn the game.
Fine,
Bogica huffed.
but I want to play her after you're done.
She dropped the baby voice now completely and replaced it with a gravelly whine.
Suit yourself, Brick responded, but go easy on her because she doesn't know how to play yet.
Don't worry, I'll go easy.
She giggled as she scuttled off to the kitchen stairs to grab her deck from somewhere deep in the bowels of the nest. Yeah, I don't think she's gonna go easy. You need to be careful, there's some dark magic in them cards. Foul essences in the air, Is this game anything like Gwent? I'm pretty good at that game, I inquired.
Haha, no, MTG is a lot more complicated than Gwent, Brick chortled.
It's kind of not really. They're all card games, dude. They have their intricacies, okay? OP says, alright, well then, I really do have no idea what I'm doing, so can you help me?
Yeah, of course. I've been wanting to try out this deck that I made. I'll sit by you and help you out,
he responded. Yeah, I'm sure that's how it's gonna go. I was starting to get the sense that Brick would be the one actually playing, and I would simply be holding the cards. Much like when you give your younger sibling an unplugged controller while you play to try to give them a sense of control. Yeah, I kinda do it with my kids. You sit on my lap and use those unbound arrow keys while I use WASD. I watched the conclusion of the match, trying to glean whatever information I could to help me do well in whatever Legbeard superiority display I was now apparently a part of. Yeah, we all know exactly what this is. "Oh, fuck, man," came from Man Bun, as Weevil had come out on top.
"Sorry, dude, you owe me a fourth,"
Weasel said in his quiet, shaky voice, now lined with the satisfaction of a game well won.
"Get packing and I'll put our stuff away."
Okay, dude, but we're sharing tonight. I didn't bring that much. I'll bring extra next week just for you,
Man Bun conceded, then standing up to rejoin his beloved Pickle Rick Bong. At least he lost with some grace, I suppose. A trundling down the rickety stairs announced Bogica's return. Weevil had gathered his and Man Bun's card and placed them back into their receptacles.
"Table's all yours,"
he said as he rejoined Man Bun on the couch. I sat down in the now free seat as Brick shuffled the cards.
"This is a black deck with a lot of zombies. You'll be using the graveyard as a resource.
Black sounds cool, I said, inspecting the art on one of the cards. I still had no idea what the different colors meant, or even the mechanics of the game. Bogica plopped down across from me, the vibration from the force shaking the drinks on the table. Jesus, what is she made of, dark matter? What deck do you have? I asked Bogica, as her discolored phalanges molested the cards.
Oh, I brought my planeswalker,
she said with a sly smile. Now on the same level, the rotting stench of tonsil stones assaulted my senses. Ugh!
Her breath smelled like straight up shit. It smelled like a toilet full of nasty ass shit.
Hate us. The bacterial nature reserve had left her teeth fuzzy, and the stained, disconcerting brown-yellow from the coffee, cigarettes, and, well, general neglect.
What the hell, Bogica? I told you to go easy on her,
Brick exclaimed with annoyance. It's fine, I consoled, trying to lean back in my seat to remove myself from her poison AoE damage. It's just a game. No need to get upset. Let's just start. He sat down next to me with a sigh.
Fine. Let's just get this over with.
The game began as my suspicions were confirmed. I was really only meant to hold the cards for Brick. This was a relief, as I don't believe I would have been able to concentrate, given the wheezing coming from across the small table.
Play this. Tap these,
he instructed as I shifted uncomfortably. Yes, indeed. What fun we're having in the trash pile tonight. But just like I said about, Funky P-Beard, you gotta be a real ride or die type of chick to put yourself through all this. It should be commended. I want you to turn and run into the night, but we're just not there yet. After a few minutes into the match, I was starting to feel lightheaded from the effort of holding my breath. It was then that Bogica produced a gagging sound. I watched as she maneuvered her tongue around and lifted her fingers up to her mouth, retching in and pulling out a large tonsil stone. Oh my god. What are you doing? She squished and rolled around the noxious pearl, playing with it until it had lost its shape. She brought her fingers to her short snout, sniffing her find, and then wiping the remnants on her My Little Pony shirt. Oh my god!
That's just nasty.
What a foul what? What? That is so disgusting. Why would you ever? New white and yellow streaks joined a dozen old ones on the face of that poor pony. Sucking her fingers, she placed another card. I think I'm done playing. I shot up. Where's the bathroom? Yeah, dude. We gotta go.
Can you wait? We're in the middle of a game,
Brick said. Just take over for me, I said, taking a few steps away from the horror that I had just witnessed. There's nothing quite like that, dude. We've never seen that on the channel before, but here we are. Sort of a thing to celebrate, sort of, depressing that we can't ever go back.
No, we're playing,
Bogica screeched.
Gooby, sit down. Just a minute, I'm about to win.
She tried to reach out to grab my arm as I passed, my life flashing before my eyes as I narrowly escaped her clutches. Yeah, dude, if she scratches you, 100% chance of infection. Guarantee it. Her malodorous talons grasped the empty air, mere inches away from my bare arm. I have to go now, I said definitively, feeling nausea grip my stomach. I'll only be a second.
Up the living room stairs and to the right,
Brick said as he took his place in my seat, now looking around to discern the source of the now much stronger miasma.
Nah, man, Nerdina's getting ready for work in that one,
Methan said from the couch.
Bogica, could she use yours? I guess. It's across from my room up the kitchen stairs, she relinquished. Just don't touch anything.
Yeah, that was also my thought. Thank you. I made a beeline through the kitchen and to the stairs, ignoring the re-stickification of my boots from the floor. Once I got beyond the tapestry, I paused for a moment, trying to quell the rising bile in my stomach. "She's nice," he said. "Just get to know her," he said. The words were echoing in my mind as I wondered how someone could even get this repulsive. They all seemed to just ignore it. Her and the revolting state of the home. Jesus fucking Christ. I took a deep breath and climbed the spiraling stairs. Reaching the zenith of the home, it got noticeably warmer. I cursed the laws of thermodynamics for the now hot and sticky air that rose to the top floor. The more humid air is what keeps Bogica alive, I'm pretty sure. She needs it to do her swamp monster things. A narrow hallway with 2 openings greeted me. Both were lacking doors, instead covered with more tapestries. A wooden door that looked like it had been kicked in a fit of man-baby rage leaned next to one of the doorways for emotional support. Yeah, don't bother fixing it, just lean it right up there. So weird. Pushing aside the dusty fabric, I peered into the first room. I was thankful that I had located the bathroom. I had had my fill and more of snooping already. There is only so much forbidden knowledge that one mortal can consume in an afternoon. The reek of ammonia and cat shit amplified by the heat slapped me in the face. Cat litter crunched under my boots as I walked to the toilet. No toilet seat, just a ring of yellow-orange piss and poo streaks on what was once a pristine white porcelain throne. The bowl was discolored by pink and black mold and a palette of every excrement color under the sun. Did she do all that? I'm not throwing up in there. Is there a sink, a bathtub, a trash can? Anything but that horror show of a toilet. God damn it, I hissed. My bladder felt like it was about to burst. Oh, I guess she did have beers. I thought it was like, actually going to throw up. Good. Glad we got over the nausea for now. Only a matter of time before it makes its reappearance, however. I was not about to let my derriere come anywhere near that gaping maw. I pulled a move that some miladies know well when faced with desecrated public toilets, as laying down toilet paper was not an option in this instance. Pulling down my jeans as far as I could while avoiding them contacting the floor, I assumed a standing squat stance. Holding a standing squat alone is difficult for most, but adding into the equation that I had skinny jeans around my ankles and was tipsy and also trying to piss, well, it was really divine intervention that I did not go tumbling into that septic pit. Yeah, or pee on your pants. Although the pee might have washed away some of the, skin cells and fecal matter from the couch, so I don't know. Win some and lose some. After I had finished and pulled my pants back up, I noticed a filthy trash can next to the deep sink. It was overflowing with toilet paper, rusted razors, ash, and empty shower products. The toilet paper was streaked with traces of various bodily fluids, pus, blood. My unsteady legs walked to the sink as I caught my reflection in the pus and oil spattered mirror. I looked like 10 miles of bad highway. Hair frizzing up from the humidity. My makeup that I'd redone so many times in an effort to make a good impression was now streaked and collected just below my eyes. I mean, first impressions are the part that matter most, and I think you stuck that landing. Bogica wants to be your best friend at least. Looking down to find soap to wash my hands, I stopped dead in my tracks. A used tampon was left unceremoniously discarded in the sink.
Why the sink?
Deep brown blood congealed with age turned my own blood frigid cold. So disgusting. Yeah, I hate that a lot. Wow. In my attempt to keep my booty clean, my hands were not so lucky. I would not walk around with piss-covered fingers, no matter that my company apparently had no problem walking around with far worse. The kitchen sink being inaccessible, I realized in horror that the only way that I was going to get clean was to just get it over with. Eyes watering and throat closing up, I grabbed enough toilet paper to wipe the asses of an entire family and carefully picked up the vile thing by the very end of its string. Suppressing a gag, I unstuck it with a squelch and dropped it in a pile of trash. You should not be subjected to biohazards, okay? I thought we were just gonna play some Magic the Gathering. I want to go home now. Shaking my hands with visceral disgust, I let out a whimper to avoid letting loose the scream that was rising in my chest. No doubt. You fucking people live like this? What is wrong with you? Animals! All of you! And then you just storm out. I can't do it anymore. The social contract done been broken, okay? It's over now. I'm going home. I pumped at the soap bottle desperately. All that was left was thinly collected at the bottom. Unscrewing the bottle, adding a little water, and shaking it afforded the right viscosity to pour onto my shaking hands, and I scrubbed until my hands were raw, wishing I could scrub my eyes and brain in the same way. And now our ears, consequently. Having nothing but a crusty, stiff towel heaped on the floor as a means to dry my hands, I opted to just wipe them on my shirt instead. Yeah, I do that like 9 times out of 10 anyways. Taking a corner of my sleeve to swab away the spreading black from under my eye, I rushed back down the creaking steps. I needed fresh air like a basement dweller needs adult anime. I flung open the front door, the cool night air soothing the knot in my gut. Oh, what a reprieve. Just soak that in. Letting out a deep sigh, I walked toward the steps connecting the house from the road. I sat heavily on the cracked concrete. Cows and pigs have more dignity, I thought. Accurate. My eyes stared off toward nothing as I gulped down the clean air. Yeah, it's free. We can have as much as we want. Oh, I never want to go back in that horrible place. My racing thoughts were broken by the front door creaking open. Nerdina stepped out wearing her uniform with a backpack slung around her. She closed the door behind her and then she noticed me. Jesus, you scared me, she said with a start. What are you doing out here? Brick was asking where you went. Sorry, I was just getting some fresh air, I explained. Are you doing okay? She asked with concern on her round face. You're not looking so hot. Aw, look at that empathy. You can tell she's a real one already. Opie says, yeah, I'll be fine in a minute. I have a headache. Ah, she said. You know, smoking usually helps when I have a migraine, and I'm sure Man Bun would share some of his stash. That is, if they haven't already smoked it all. She ended with a laugh. Yeah, thanks. I'm just gonna sit out here for a little bit before I go back in, I assured her. Okay, well, hope you feel better. Have a nice night. She patted my shoulders as she climbed the stairs. Yeah, thanks. Have a good night. Nice to meet you, I called after her as she approached a brokemobile of her own. I sat on the steps for a while longer until some shots rang out in the distance, and yeah, I took that as my cue to return to the nest. I mean, one ending is rather quick. I'm sure it's still smarts, but it beats brain-eating amoeba, doesn't it? I'm gonna take my chances out here. Stepping back into the warm light of the kitchen, I was thankful that I had become more nose-blind to this stench. Grabbing a solo cup, I poured heavily into it and took a hearty gulp. I did not want to be mentally present for the rest of this night. Chalice in hand, I returned to the living room, where the party had nestled themselves into the couches.
Hey, there you are,
Brick slurred.
Where'd you run off to?
I just needed some air, I responded, slumping into him. He wrapped an arm around me lazily, as I realized that he would be in no condition to drive anytime soon. How'd your game go? I asked, trying to shift the focus.
I got my ass beat, he laughed. Bogica's Planeswalker sucks.
Don't be a sore loser, Bricky,
Bogica cooed from an adjacent couch. Grimacing with disgust, I avoided looking at her and the pony that she donned. My little sisters love that show, I thought, from somewhere far away. Minutes passed as my drink disappeared, and I started to feel my body relax into the couch. Boots was still hunched over his monitor, kept company by a 2-liter of only the finest dew. I don't think he had moved the entire night. Yeah, sometimes gaming do be like that. The passing of the Pickle Rick bong had commenced once more. Once it got to Brick, he took a hit, held his breath, and slowly exhaled. Offering it to me with a cough, I took it in hand. I'd like to preface this next part with a few things. I used to smoke in high school. Not religiously, but I did partake. I had never smoked from a bong before, though, so I wasn't sure of the right way to go about it. It had been years since I had last smoked, so yeah, I had no tolerance whatsoever. At this point, I was certifiably drunk. Yeah, this could get pretty interesting. Copying Brick's motions, I took the lighter in hand and brought it up to the smoldering plant matter, emptying my lungs as I took a deep breath of the receptacle. I did not remove the dongle containing the devil's lettuce as someone proficient in doing such a task would do. So yeah, I inhaled much more of the smog than I meant to, and I immediately started hacking up a lung.
God damn it! Why didn't you take it off before you breathed in?
Brick sat up, placing a hand on my back. Why didn't you help? You're presuming an awful lot of knowledge here. I don't know. I sputtered out between coughs.
Have a nice trip to space,
Man Bun chuckled, giving me a salute. Would you just, torch a whole bunch of resin? After the coughing had subsided, I started to feel my body fill with warmth. I sensed something jump on my lap. A skinny orange cat had come out of its hiding place to seek attention. Hi, little kitty, I mumbled. I pet his small head as he rubbed up against me, purring. I noticed that one of his eyes was swollen shut and leaking mucus. God, dude.
Ew, oh, no. Oh, no, you're cute. I don't want to pet you, though.
Of course they don't take care of their animals. They don't take care of themselves. Why would they take care of their animals? You know how fucking easy that is to take care of? This is miserable. OP says, yeah, most likely from conjunctivitis. Poor little cat. You need some antibiotics. As I scratched his neck, I felt various scabs and dirt under his fur. Poor little thing, what the fuck? To do this to yourself is one thing. We all make choices, but to take an innocent animal along for the ride, terrible. I say go leave the front door open. Let the cat escape. He deserves a better life than this. The flies only live for 30 days. This cat's gonna live for fucking 15 to 20 years.
Not like this. Not like this.
Bogica stomped up and snatched the cat roughly from my lap.
That's my cat!
She sneered, squeezing him up against her filthy form. The cat squeaked in protest as she threw herself back into her seat. The moment he could wriggle free, he scampered frantically to safety.
Deku, get back here!
She screeched, clawing after him. I felt something crawling on me then. Looking down, a few black specks scurried across my bare arms. Ah! I exclaimed, slapping them away. Your cat needs to go to a vet. He has an infection and he's covered in fleas.
He's fine!
She shrieked, clambering over the trash and filth in pursuit of the poor creature. She's gonna eat it. She's saving it for a snack is what it is. He's not fine for living, but he's just fine for stew. Standing up so fast, I was hit with a massive wave of nausea. I was, as the kids say, cross-faded. I'm gonna throw up, I told Brick. He raised himself and started leading me unsteadily up the stairs to Nerdina's bathroom. I heard a cackling coming from Bogica as we ascended. I mean, yeah, get your chuckles where you can get them, I guess. Because really, the joke here is like your entire existence. I do feel bad for the cat, but everybody else, you're just reaping what you sow, essentially. Her bathroom, Nerdina's bathroom, was not much cleaner than the rest of the house, but at least she did have a toilet seat. I spent what felt like an eternity, puking more than I ever have in my entire life. I did not know my body had that much liquid in it. But I parted ways with it all the same. Brick brought me bottles of water and rubbed my back in turns while I expelled my entire stomach contents. This is not just from the drinking, right? Did Bogica get close enough that you could smell her shirt? The tonsil stone-covered shirt? After my self-inflicted torture had subsided, I whispered out, "Can we leave, please? Now?"
Yeah, let's get you home.
He helped me get to my feet and led me back down the stairs. The living room was quiet, as most of the nest's inhabitants had passed out on the couch. Helping me out the door and toward his car, I slumped into the passenger's seat. I don't remember the ride home, but once I felt the car lurch to a stop, I perked up. Stumbling up the stairs to my trailer, I stopped and said with venom, "Put your clothes in the washer and leave your shoes outside. I am not getting fleas in my house." He nodded, adhering to my commands, and followed me to the laundry room as we stripped down to our unmentionables. I then took a long, sitting-down shower, letting the heat scald my skin clean. I tried to bleach the memories from my brain, but alas, to no avail. And now everyone gets to experience the cosmic horrors that you've experienced, at least, through an audio medium. Is this worth trying to make friends? How can somebody even live like that? And other conundrums slipped in and out of my consciousness. As I dried off, exhaustion took its hold on me, and I wobbly entered my bedroom. Climbing into bed with an already snoring Brick, the dark embrace of sleep finally whisked me away from my waking nightmare, and I have never smoked since that day. Oh, I guess that means you weren't, puking from the alcohol. You had a little too much of that resin in your brains. Stupid body doesn't know it's already in there. We can't get it out no more. But yeah, you'll sleep really good. Then you wake up the next day and you're like, God, my abs hurt. I've been throwing up too much and I'm getting abs. I hope that's relatable. I hope that's not something that only I've experienced. It can't be. It can't possibly be. Anyway, thank you very much for reading, and please leave your constructive criticism in the comments. In the next episode, if wanted, oh god, yes, want, please, I will regale you with the tale of how Bogica baited a neckbeard and a man with questionable decision-making into a poly relationship. Oh, in the trash pile? Of course it's... Where is she gonna go? These men are gonna stay with me in my swamp! P.S. Maybe the real hot dog man was the friends we made along the way. Well, amen to that, OP. I'm glad to see it. What a great story. How well written and, yes, revolting. Which I think is something that is sorely missing on the channel lately. I like nice guy, nice girl text and, Tinder weirdos as much as the next guy. But the good old-fashioned disgusting neckbeard story is the root of the channel. That's where all this came from. So I thank you for telling us a wonderful tale, OP. I do hope to see part 2. This is impeccable. So yeah, I had to share it with you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you really liked it that much, you could sign up on Patreon or the YouTube memberships. That would be neato. You could also check out our merch over on Fourth Wall. Plenty of ways to support, even non-monetarily, if you were to share the video around or something like that. Hey, want to hear a weird story? Bam, ReddX link. Might be a weird non sequitur. Might get a fan for life. I hope that you'll be brave enough to try it out. But regardless of any of that, friends, I want to remind you that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye.
Nani baka, nani baka, nani baka, nani baka, nani